Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome in, welcome in. There should be sound. You guys can hear me, right? There is sound to this? Okay. What's going on? Prepping the stream, 1 second. Welcome in, everybody. We're going to watch today. He gave a full address, like 50 minutes long, to the UN, and apparently he went in and he criticized globalism, the Russia war, Sharia law in Europe, mass migration. I mean, he's, yeah, we're not playing anything yet. Just getting the stream set up. I'm going live over on Rumble too. So I just want to make sure everything's correct. We'll start here in literally just a few minutes. 1 second, guys. I mean, I think I'm live on a Rumble. I don't even know if I'm actually live on a Rumble right now. Okay, yeah, we are. Cool. I would stream more on Rumble, but its setup sucks. Edit. Okay. What do we have this titled? Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Okay. Dope. All right. We got everything working. AOC 2028? Yeah. No, I don't think so. Let's start this one from the beginning.
That's my record. Thank you very much. Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble. Hello, Madam First Lady. Thank you very much for being here. And Madam President, Mr. Secretary General, First Lady of the United States, distinguished delegates, ambassadors, and world leaders. 6 years have passed since I last stood in this grand hall and addressed a world that was prosperous, and at peace in my first term. Since that day, the guns of war have shattered the peace I forged on two continents. An era of calm and stability gave way to one of the great crises of our time. And here in the United States, 4 years of weakness, lawlessness, and radicalism under the last administration delivered our nation into a repeated set of disasters. 1 year ago, our country was in deep trouble, but today, just 8 months into my administration, we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, and there is no other country even close. America is blessed with the strongest economy, the strongest borders, the strongest military, the strongest friendships, and the strongest spirit of any nation on the face of the earth. This is indeed the golden age of America.
Golly.
We are rapidly reversing the economic calamity we inherited from the previous administration, including ruinous price increases and record-setting inflation. Inflation like we've never had before. Under my leadership,
I don't know if we've reversed all that. That's a bit of a stretch, especially when people's grocery prices are still going up. We still have electricity bills going up, and the economy is kind of teetering. We just revised down over 1 million jobs. Technically, he did. Well, it's been 8 months, so you can't even say he fully inherited that shit. He's 8 months into his administration. Sure, the Biden economy was garbage. Inflation was runaway, but it hasn't slowed down yet. So, yeah, he's half right here, but hasn't done anything meaty to really reverse the downtrend. I did read that apparently the tariffs are actually having a decent effect, but I don't know how much of this is political speak because Trump's been on the Federal Reserve's ass. So Powell was kind of saying some good things like, the consumer's not really paying too much for the actual tariffs, but we have brought in some extra revenue. Yeah, well, we also did increase the fucking deficit. Again, we voted for a budget increase in order to avert shutdown. And we upped, again, the budget for the Pentagon, the military. So the defense budget has gone up yet again. I mean, do we really need all this? Like, how much of the defense budget is just corruption nonstop? All these contractors that are making so much money on all these weapon designs that constantly get shelved because it's not good enough, or the contract, just gets totally obliterated. They go with somebody else, or they never even use the product in the first place because it's deemed ineffective in the modern battlefield. Shit like that,
Energy costs are down. Gasoline prices are down. Grocery prices are down. Mortgage rates are down.
Is that true?
And inflation has been defeated. The only thing that's up is the stock market, which just hit a record high. In fact, it hit a record high 48 times in the last short period of time. Growth is surging. Manufacturing is booming. The stock market, as I said, is doing better than it's ever done.
Yeah, but the stock market, you see, when you look at this from the lens of the donor class, the billionaires, like everything he's saying is great if you are a millionaire. Like, it's never been cheaper to get money from the government as a multi-millionaire, billionaire, right? They just lowered the interest rates by 25 basis points. That helps businesses get cash. But average Main Street, normal, everyday working American, this doesn't matter to you. You don't care about the stock market. Your energy costs have not actually gone down. They've gone up. Your grocery prices have actually gone up. You're dealing with shrinkflation. The bags are emptier, but they cost more and more. They're filled with air. Ask any American, where are these jobs that they're talking about? So again, if you're looking at this from the lens of the people that donated to his campaign, the oligarchs that are running the country, big business that's driving our government completely, and, all these empty suits that are in business with them, or in bed with them, excuse me, then you'll start to see that, yeah, from their perspective, their point of view, they're totally correct. America's never been better if you're one of them, if you're in the club. But the average everyday American is struggling. They have record levels of defaults on mortgages, on car loans, on credit cards, they're using fucking Klarna. They're going, it takes you 4 easy payments, bro, to have your fucking bug sandwich. That's insane.
And all of you in this room benefit by that. Almost everybody.
Of course, you see?
Workers'
He said
wages
it.
are rising at the fastest pace in more than 60 years.
There you go,
That's
dude.
what it's all about, isn't it? In 4 years of President Biden, we had less than $1 trillion.
And I have to, because we did the live stream literally last night on the H-1B visa being all theater. Worker wages are not going up. Again, if you're part of the millionaire class, the billionaire class, that $100 fee is just a pay-to-play fine. You're still importing your cheap labor. And if not, if you're a medium-sized firm or smaller, you offshore completely to save from cost. I don't need to bring Indians in. I'll just literally hire them straight from fucking New Delhi. The operation will get moved overseas. Like, people think they're somehow winning. Like, we're going to win. And then it came out that they clarified, they backtracked that the 100K fee, remember, it was supposed to be yearly. At least that's what we heard from the press conference. And then it got walked back to an annual, or sorry, not an annual, a one-time fee. And it doesn't apply to anybody that's already here. And so many of those O's.
Of new investment
come on, man.
into the United States. In just 8 months since I took office, we have secured commitments and money already paid for $17 trillion. Think of it, 4 years, less than $1 trillion, 8 months, much more than $17 trillion.
What happened to Doge? What happened to the Doge cuts? You remember we were promised $2 trillion in cuts? I don't think we even got $100 billion. I don't even think they codified any of those in Congress. They just rerouted the money somewhere else.
Is being invested in the United States, and it's now pouring in from all parts of the world. We've implemented the largest tax cuts in American history and the largest regulation cuts in American history, making this once and again the best country on earth to do business. And many of the people in this room are investing in America, and it's turned out to be an awfully good investment during this 8-month period. In my first term, I built the greatest economy in the history of the world. We had the best economy ever, history of the world. And I'm doing the same thing again, but this time it's actually much bigger and even better. The numbers far surpass my record-setting first term. On our southern border, we have successfully repelled a
Dude, this is the meme coin president. Like, he's literally getting rich off Bitcoin and Ethereum and Trump coin. They even made a coin for his wife. They made tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars on that shit. And people forgot that already.
Colossal invasion. And for the last 4 months, and that's 4 months in a row, the number of illegal aliens admitted and entering our country has been 0. Hard to believe, because if you look back just a year ago, it was millions and millions of people pouring in from all over the world, from prisons, from mental institutions, drug dealers. All over the world they came. They just poured into our country with the ridiculous open border policy of the Biden administration. Our message is very simple. If you come illegally into the United States, you're going to jail or you're going back to where you came from.
See, that part, I agree with him 100%. You know, you have to find some common ground here. Obviously, we'll never find common ground on the Epstein files, like release them already. Shit that's going on with Israel and Gaza, of course. Stop supporting genocide. But this whole border shit, you got to give it to him. At least he did close the border. They're making an effort, although it sucks. The numbers are lower than Biden's were. They're kind of ass. But if you see what's happening in Europe and the open border policies that they have, it's out of control. You're not getting like stabbed in the streets to death. The women are getting raped in mass, grooming gangs, all that shit. That's not really existing in America like that. You're not being overrun by MENA countries. What do they call them? Middle Eastern, North African countries. and sub-Saharan Africa. It's like, bro, they're just coming in by the boatloads. They're getting handed cell phones. They're getting handed debit cards. They're getting handed a place to stay in those like migrant hotels. Then they give them jobs that they're not supposed to get. That takes away from the locals that they could be working those jobs. Like America's not on that level of lunacy. America is its own special, unique, crazy. But what Europe is doing is like suicidal, and you have to be here to see it for yourself. So at least they got the border closed, which is like a far cry for what Europe is capable of right now. Europe seems like the most limp dick group of fucking people that you could possibly meet, Western Europeans. Seriously, not an ounce of testosterone. Testicles non-existent in a lot of Western Europeans. It's pathetic to watch their own countries get invaded like that way.
Or perhaps even further than that. You know what that means? I want to thank the country of El Salvador for the successful and professional job they've done in receiving and jailing so many criminals that entered our country. And it was under the previous administration that the number became record-setting, and they're all being taken out. We have no choice. And other countries have no choice because other countries are in the exact same situation with immigration. It's destroying your country.
See, here we go.
You have
Finally,
to do something about it.
tell
On the world stage, America is respected again like it has never been respected before. You think about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or 1 year ago, we were a laughingstock all over the world. At the NATO summit in June, virtually all NATO members formally committed to increase defense spending at my request from 2% to 5% of GDP, making our alliance far stronger and more powerful than it was ever before. In May, I traveled to the Middle East to visit my friends and rebuild our partnerships in the Gulf and those valued relations.
Yeah, but we turned our back on Canada and we shit on Canada so hard that they ended up voting the Liberal government when Trump was talking about turning them into the 51st state. We also turned our back on Europe. I would have gave Trump major props if he would have came down on Europe hard. We protect you motherfuckers. We're the military for you in your welfare state. You will abolish all the anti-free speech laws that you're implementing. The digital ID shit, it's over with. You want our protection, you will fucking bow. All right? We will protect you from Russia. We will station more troops. That shit's got to go. Close your fucking borders and re-immigrate everybody. Kick them all the fuck out. You are not turning the UK into an Islamic state with nuclear weapons. Kick them all the fuck out. If Trump would have had the balls to do that, because really use the weight of the American empire, bend Europe to your will. It's not that difficult. That's what was needed to be done. But it wasn't. Instead, we kind of, in a sense, isolated ourselves, made Europe start to look for other partners, and turned our back on our best allies is Canada, literally. We shit on them so hard, they voted in libs. What?
Relationships with Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the UAE and other countries are now, I believe, closer than ever before. My administration has negotiated one historic trade deal after another, including with the United Kingdom, the European Union, Japan, South Korea, Vietnam, Indonesia, the Philippines, Malaysia, and many, many others. Likewise, in a period of just 7 months, I have ended 7 unendable wars. They said they were unendable. You're never going to get them solved. Some were going for 31 years, 2 of them, 31, think of it, 31 years. One was 36 years. One was 28 years. I ended 7 wars. And in all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people being killed. This
we bombed Iran,
Cambodia, and Thailand, Kosovo and Serbia, the Congo and Rwanda, a vicious, violent war that was.
Kosovo and Serbia.
Pakistan and India, Israel and Iran.
These aren't wars. These were small conflicts. What is he talking about? 7 wars, dude. And did we forget we bombed Iran and also sending Israel weapons to like fucking ethnically cleanse Gaza and Palestinians?
Egypt and Ethiopia
What the
and
hell?
Armenia and Azerbaijan. It included all of them. No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that.
But if we were talking about in pure destruction and devastation, wouldn't the main one, like the feather on the cap, would have been ending the Russia-Ukraine war? Really? That's the really, you would say, the quintessential most important conflict of this era right now is Russia-Ukraine. So the one that really matters, because who gives a fuck about Azerbaijan or fucking Cambodia? Really?
And I did it in just 7 months.
Yeah, and like Serbia, what are we talking about here?
It's never happened before. There's never
Never
been
happened.
anything like that. I'm very honored to have done it.
I want to hear him
It's too
shit on the
bad that I
UN
had
though.
to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not.
Bro, some moron said, stop the BS. Israel didn't want to go into Gaza, but they killed 1,200 people and took 200 hostages. God, people are stupid. Edward, you're a fucking retard, okay? 1,200 people dying does not equate or give you the right to go cleanse tens of thousands of children. Do you know most of Gaza, like most of Palestine, they're 18 years old or younger? You're killing kids. Killing kids because, oh my God, they killed 1,200 people. Again, abhorrent, an abomination, Hamas, terrorist organization, but so is Israel acting like one. They're ethnically cleansing people. 100,000+ dead already, over 1,200. And by the way, Israel funds Hamas. Like, did you know that? And it makes sense for Israel to fund Hamas and keep them going. Why? Because you can preempt an invasion by something like this happening. Are you kidding me? They're like useful idiots in the grand plan to eventually take over Palestine. Hamas is like the perfect thing for Israel to control. You just got to feed them a few little rockets here and there, get attacked. That's the pretext. Invade, cleanse, boom, settle, done. Like anyone with half a fucking brain can see this. Do you know? And even Charlie Kirk was talking about that stuff. Do you know how fucking heavily guarded Israel really is? You think some fucking dudes in paragliders are just going to come over and take it and then there's no response for how long? Really, man? It smells of shit. It reeks of hypocrisy and deep state actions and ulterior motives. This dude's talking about, who are you talking about? 100,000 people doesn't fucking matter. They killed 1,200. Yeah, are Jewish lives worth more than tens of thousands of children? Indiscriminate bombing? You mean this is the same country with such advanced weaponry and targeted precision strikes where they can bomb Hamas in Qatar, hit the exact building or hit the exact buildings in Iran, but they just leveled all of Gaza? It looks like fucking ruin and straight rubble. Are you not seeing that? Strange that you're not seeing that shit. Like, does your heart fucking beat for these children? Have you seen the videos?
Even try to help in any of them. I ended 7 wars, dealt with the leaders of each and every one of these countries, and never even received a phone call from the United Nations offering to help in finalizing the deal. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen.
What the fuck is he talking about?
But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood.
Awesome shape, bro. Totally.
And then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the 2 things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much. And by the way, it's working now. It just went on. Thank you. I think I should just do it the other way. It's easier. Thank you very much. I didn't think of it at the time because I was too busy working to save millions of lives. That is the saving and stopping of these wars. But later I realized that the United Nations wasn't there for us. They weren't there. I thought of it really after the fact, not during these negotiations, which were not easy. That being the case,
Previous $4.99. Off topic, it also makes no sense that the United States pays more taxes in NATO compared to every EU country. Freaking ridiculous.
We definitely subsidize the security of Europe and haven't been getting our fair share back in. I agree with that 100%.
What is the purpose of the United Nations? The UN has such tremendous potential. I've always said it. It has such tremendous, tremendous potential.
But also,
But
it needs
it's
to
not
be
even-
said, it was kind of set up that way because the United States benefits from being the protectorate of Europe. And I mean that in the defense industry itself. Do you know how many billions, hundreds of billions, potentially trillions over the years Europe has spent procuring weapons from the United States, from our defense industry? We make a ton of money, quote, securing Europe. We practically feed them all our weapons and make them dependent on our weapons and our logistics. And in that sense, we have control over them. They become our vassals in that sense. So it's hard to say, or not hard to say, but it wouldn't be entirely true to just place the blame on Europeans for like, why are you guys being so soft and like you don't have your own defense industries and all that shit? Well, it's like, well, no shit, bro. You came in here and was like, you're going to use our guns. We're going to station bases here. We're going to protect you. You have to buy from us. Don't have your own homegrown defense industries. And now you're under our umbrella for protection. And so we get to dictate to you how we're going to run the new world order. Technically, that's how it went. You know, because and someone say USA has the best weapons. They don't even have the best weapons, honestly, when you compare everything. Like Sweden makes really cutting edge shit. Germany, the UK, they have equivalents. Some of the like absolute cutting edge, maybe, sure. But for the most part, when we're talking about drones, tanks, transport vehicles, shit like that, it's about the same level. So, but yeah, they fund our defense industry because we force them to buy basically from us. Yeah.
Coming close to living up to that potential. For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up. It's empty words, and empty words don't solve war. The only thing that solves war and wars is action. Now, after ending all of these wars and also earlier negotiating the Abraham Accords, which is a very big thing for which our country received no credit, never receives credit. Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements. But for me, the real prize will be the sons and daughters who live to grow up with their mothers and fathers, because millions of people are no longer being killed in endless and unglorious wars. What I care about is not winning prizes, it's saving lives. We saved millions and millions of lives with the 7 wars. And we have others that we're working on, and you know that. Many years ago, a very successful real estate developer in New York, known as Donald J. Trump, I bid on the renovation and rebuilding of this very United Nations complex. I remember it so well. I said at the time that I would do it for $500 million, rebuilding everything. It would be beautiful. I used to talk about, I'm going to give you marble floors. They're going to give you terrazzo.
Gold toilets.
I'm going to give you the best of everything. You're going to have mahogany walls. They're going to give you plastic. But they decided to go in another direction, which was much more expensive at the time, and which actually produced a far inferior product.
Hey.
And I realized that they did not know what they were doing when it came to construction, and that their building concepts were so wrong, and the product that they were proposing
He's just
to build
shitting
was
on them.
so bad. And
Bro, his beef with the fucking UN goes way back, dude. He got snuffed out of 500 mils, and now he's coming back. Listen, your walls are shit. I would have gave you mahogany. You would have had gold toilets with me, but you spent double, triple, and now I'm about to glaze myself in front of all of you. You're my bitches. Watch. I own this fucking place now. Bitch, you should have gave me the 500 millis. Now you have to sit here and listen to what I got to say. Now back to the glazing spree. And what? And what? I'm defunding you. And what? UN, what are you good for? Mass migration. Your countries are all shit. I'm shutting down George Soros. And I'm a shit on my gold toilet and tweet about it. At the same time, you would have been shitting on gold toilets too. But 500 millies, you turned me down? Now I'm defunding you. My revenge. Back to the
So
glizzy.
costly. It was going to cost them a fortune. And I said, and wait till you see the overruns. Well, I turned out to be right. They had massive cost overruns and spent between $2 and $4 billion on the building.
Damn.
And did not even get the marble floors that I promised them. You walk on terrazzo. Do you notice that? As far as I'm concerned, frankly, looking at the building and get it.
Frankly, this building is brutalism. It's absolute dog shit. You can't even walk your nasty, stank ass fucking rubbery shoes on marble greatness. You're walking on terrazzo. You know that? You paid quadruple, you fucks.
Stuck on the escalator. They still
Your escalator doesn't work. Damn. Damn, you can't even get an escalator functioning, you fucking Eurotards. Look at him. He's just shitting on him.
I haven't finished. That was years ago. The project was so corrupt that Congress actually asked me to testify before them on the tremendous waste of money because it
Tremendous
turned out
garbage.
they had no idea what it was, but they knew it was anywhere between $2 and $4 billion as opposed to $500 million with a guarantee.
Wow.
But they had no idea, and I said it cost much more than $5 billion. Unfortunately, many things in the United Nations are happening just like that, but on an even much bigger scale, much, much bigger. Very sad to see. Whether the UN can manage to play a productive role, I've come here today to offer the hand of American leadership and friendship to any nation in this assembly that is willing to join us in forging a safer, more prosperous world. And it's a world that we'll be much happier with. A dramatically better future is within our reach. But to get there, we must reject the failed approaches of the past.
All right. Is he going to get into them now?
Confront some of the greatest threats in history. There is no more serious danger to our planet today than the most powerful and destructive weapons ever devised by man, which
nuclear
the United
weapons.
States, as you know, has many. Just as I did in my first term, I've made containing these threats a top priority, starting with the nation of Iran. My position is very simple. The world's #1 sponsor of terror can never be allowed to possess the most dangerous weapon.
Oh,
That's why
Iran,
shortly
eh?
after taking office, I sent the so-called Supreme Leader a letter making a generous offer. I extended a pledge of full cooperation in exchange for a suspension of Iran's nuclear program. The regime's answer was to continue their constant threats to their neighbors and U.S. interests throughout the region and some great countries that are right nearby. Today, many of Iran's former military commanders, in fact, I can say almost all of them, are no longer with us. They're dead.
Jeez.
And 3 months ago, in Operation Midnight Hammer, 7 American B-2 bombers dropped the 14 30,000-pound each bombs on Iran's key nuclear facilities, totally obliterating everything. No other country on earth could have done what we did. No other country has the equipment to do what we did. We have the greatest weapons on earth. We hate to use them. But we did something that for 22 years people wanted to do. With Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity demolished, I immediately brokered an end to the 12-day war, as it's called, between Israel and Iran.
Golly.
With both sides agreeing to fight
Glazing.
no longer. As everyone knows, I have also been deeply engaged in seeking a ceasefire in Gaza. Have to get that done. Have to get it done. Unfortunately, Hamas has repeatedly rejected reasonable offers to make peace. We can't forget October 7th, can we? Now, as if to encourage continued conflict, some of this body is seeking to unilaterally recognize a Palestinian state. The rewards would be too great for Hamas terrorists for their atrocities. This would be a reward for these horrible atrocities, including October 7th, even while they refuse to release the hostages or accept a ceasefire. Instead of giving to Hamas and giving so much, because they've taken so much, they have taken so much. This could have been solved so long ago. But instead of giving in to Hamas,
It's just nasty, dude, watching this kind of glazing, knowing that you're pretty much getting blackmailed by an elite intelligence agency because they caught you doing some shit, or you were friends with some dude that's like now known worldwide as a intelligence operative that basically blackmailed most of the elite in the West, and now we're doing their bidding because the leaders are more afraid of what's actually on those tapes and those files than anything else. So we all have to suffer now. That is why we have all these laws, all these bills. Everything that they're trying to get passed is always going towards the benefit of one country. I don't think we're ever going to have a real America first until the Epstein files are released. We're a nation under blackmail, like Candace Owens said. It's true. Where we will never have an American president that is America first unless we have the Epstein files released and we know that he's not on them.
His ransom demands, those who want peace should be united with one message: release the hostages now. Just release the hostages now.
Come on, G.
Thank you. Thank you. As we have got to come together, and we will come together, got to get it done. We have to stop the war in Gaza immediately. We have to stop it. We have to get it done. We have to negotiate. Immediately have to negotiate peace. We got to get the hostages back. We want all 20 back. We don't want 2 and 4. As you know, I got, along with Steve Witkoff and others that helped us, Marco Rubio, we got most of them back. We were involved in all of them. But I always said the last 20 are going to be the hardest, and that's exactly what happened. We have to get them back now. We don't want to get back 2, and then another 2, and then 1, and then 3. Have this process. No, we want them all back, and we want the actually 38 dead bodies back too. Those parents came to me, and they want them back, and they want them back very quickly and very badly, as though they were alive. They want them. They want them every bit as much as if their son or daughter were alive. I've also been working relentlessly, stopping the killing in Ukraine. I thought that would be, of the 7 wars that I stopped, I thought that would be the easiest because of my relationship with President Putin, which had always been a good one. I thought that was going to be the easiest one. But you know, in war, you never know what's going to happen. There are always lots of surprises, both good and bad. Everyone thought Russia would win this war in 3 days, but it didn't work out that way. It was supposed to be just a quick little skirmish.
Yeah, and you ran on the campaign trail, literally saying you will end the war in 24 hours. Guys, do you remember that? I'm cool with Putin. We can work this out. If you elect me, this war ends in 24 hours. How do people not remember some of this shit? And then they'll excuse it and say, "Well, he was just being hyperbolic." No. Those are lives. That's war. That's one of the most serious issues that we have globally going on right now that we're directly affected by. Quite literally, all of Europe is like at a standstill because they were trading Russian gas, natural resources, powering their homes. And then we are defending Europe through NATO, which it's on our doorstep. This war is happening, and it's a proxy war that we've instituted by arming Ukraine and preparing them for an invasion. And maybe even goading Russia into invading by creeping NATO through its front door when it said that was a red line, that can't happen. So there's a lot of things going on in the background. Sure, Trump didn't start that shit, and it might have never started under Trump. That could be true. We don't know in an alternate universe. But you did run on the campaign promise of 24 hours and that shit's over. Then we had that huge blowout with him and Zelensky in the White House saying, you don't have the cards. You don't have the cards. You don't have the cards. And then it was a fucking clown show there. We stopped sending weapons. Russia was advancing more and more. And it literally went nowhere for the longest time. And then we now are saying, well, we had a meeting with Trump, literally finally met him in person, wasn't productive. And then he goes, I don't know what the hell was with Putin. He's gone mad. And that was it. Now we're sending more fucking weapons to Ukraine, arming them even more to help them do what? Have a fucking standoff? The fucking front lines are completely frozen. Is anybody even advancing? I haven't been keeping up with that shit because it's just a massive drain of money and Christian white men losing their lives. For who? For what? Why? We're already dwindling down. White people used to make, I just saw this stat today, 36% of the world population. We now make up 7%. We've been dwindled down to 7% of the world population. Why the fuck is there a war on Europe's land? Right in their backyard, with white Christian men being massacred to the tunes of hundreds of thousands, millions potentially injured. What? What are we doing here? We have a conflict, one of the most brutal conflicts in the modern world today, for a population that's been dwindled down to 7% of the world. Explain that shit to me. How does this make any fucking sense? And not only that, but the people that are fighting are literally brothers. I don't care if I have Russians or Ukrainians in the chat. Do you know that Kiev, the Kievan Rus is how Russia started. It started in Kiev by fucking Vikings from Sweden. People don't even know that. Swedish Vikings, an offshoot of Vikings, started what is now Russia in historically Kiev. That was the Kievan Rus that united all the Slavic tribes under Swedish Vikings. These are brothers fighting each other. These are kin. These are the same people. What the fuck are we doing? And now we're just mass migrants are coming in, just taking over whatever is left of Europe, pillaging it and shit. And we're letting it happen? What? Oh my God.
It's not making Russia look good. It's making them look bad. No matter what happens from here on out, this was something that should have taken a matter of days, certainly less than a week. And they've been fighting for 3.5 years and killing anywhere from 5,000 to 7,000 young soldiers, mostly soldiers, on both sides, every single week, from 5,000 to 7,000 dead young people, and some in cities, much smaller numbers, where rockets are shot, where drones are dropped. This war would never have started if I were president. This was a war that should have never happened. It shows you what leadership is, what bad leadership can do to a country. Look what happened to the United States, and look where we are right now in just a short period of time. The only question now is how many more lives will be needlessly lost on both sides. China and India are the primary funders of the ongoing war by continuing to purchase Russian oil. But inexcusably, even NATO countries have not cut off much Russian energy and Russian energy products, which, as you know, I found out about 2 weeks ago, and I wasn't happy. Think of it. They're funding the war against themselves. Who the hell ever heard of that one? In the event that Russia is not ready to make a deal to end the war, then the United States is fully prepared to impose a very strong round of powerful tariffs, which would stop the bloodshed, I believe, very quickly. But for those tariffs to be effective, European nations, all of you are gathered here right now.
This I agree with him.
Join us in adopting the exact same measures.
I agree. This part, I'm so in agreement with him. It's hypocritical for the EU to be bitching and moaning about the Ukraine-Russia war when they're buying Russia's natural resource. They're buying Russian gas still. They're quite literally funding the war on both sides. So they send money to Ukraine through the interest payments from, I think, $150 billion of Russia's state assets in the EU banking system. And then they turn around and also buy, because we're dependent on Russian energy, buy Russian energy that directly funds the war. Are you shitting me? Like, you want this to end? Box Russia out of the world economy completely. So what Trump is about to say here, most likely is just reiterating what he said before. I'm in 100% agreement that they have to institute tariffs top down, boxing Russia out, stop buying their natural resources, and really make them hurt to continue this war. I think that's what he's going to say.
To the city. We have an ocean in between. You're right there. And Europe has to step it up. They can't be doing what they're doing. They're buying oil and gas from Russia.
There you go.
While they're fighting Russia. It's embarrassing to them. And it was very embarrassing to them when I found out about it, I can tell you that. They have to immediately cease all energy purchases from Russia. Otherwise, we're all wasting a lot of time. So I'm ready to discuss this. We're going to discuss it today with the European nations, all gathered here. I'm sure they're thrilled to hear me speak about it, but that's...
Someone said, we have no business telling other countries what to do. Yeah, actually, we do. It is our fucking business. And I'm saying this as a Romanian American, and people think I should have affinity with Europe more. We do dictate and tell Europe exactly what the fuck to do because we protect you, because we have bases that literally deter Russia from going in deeper. We subsidize Europe's security. Why? And the hypocrisy is clean for all to see. If you're so concerned about Russian imperialism and the war on your doorstep, why do you buy oil and gas from Russia? Shouldn't there be embargoes on a nation currently undergoing war and violating NATO airspace in both Poland and Romania in the last couple of days, where drones have been flying in NATO airspace, and fighter jets violating potentially, I think it was Latvia's airspace? So you're getting encroachment from Russia during a hot, active war, yet you're still buying their natural resources, funding the war directly. Are you out of your fucking mind? Meanwhile, suppressing your own citizens' freedom of speech, sending police to their houses because they like memes, while your country is being overrun by fucking migrants. You're practically treating your citizens as second class, and you're expecting to bolster up your armed forces, to bring back conscription, to restart all your key industries for defense. And you're going to do this how and when without America's help? Yes, you will fucking listen. Yes, you will fucking do what America tells you. You have no industry to restart for war. You're not going to get it up fast enough. Your citizens don't want to fight because your governments are fucking dog shit and you're treating them like second class. And there's nobody's hardly ever surviving out here with all the fucking migrants they're bringing in. In Serbia alone, for example, Serbia is not a good example because it's not in the EU. But let's just say Croatia, other countries, they have youth unemployment rates of over 20%, but they're striking deals to bring in 100,000 people from Ghana, 100 fucking thousand Nepalese, 100 fucking thousand Indians, 100,000 wherever the fuck they're coming from. Cheap labor imported for what? You have mass unemployment in your youth, and then you want these fucking young people, Gen Z, to go fight and die in your war for Russia? To protect what? The opulence of the elite rulers? The bourgeoisie that want you to fucking eat bugs and not have access to meat and crush all the farmers because you're the carbon they want to reduce? Have these people lost their fucking minds? Yes, you listen to what America tells you, you fucking morons. You can't even close your borders. You are lost. You're invaded. And your leaders hate you. Saying this as a Romanian American. The fuck out of here. Europeans are so up their own assholes. Honestly, the only real white people left are in the Balkans. Seriously, from what I've seen, Western Europeans are fucking mentally ill. Shit is ridiculous.
That's the way it is. I like to speak my mind and speak the truth. As we seek to reduce the threat of dangerous weapons today, I'm also calling on every nation to join us in ending the development of biological weapons once and for all. and biological is terrible, and nuclear is even beyond, and we include nuclear in that. We want to have a cessation of the development of nuclear weapons. We know, and I get to view it all the time. Sir, would you like to see? And I look at weapons that are so powerful that we just can't ever use them. If we ever use them, the world literally might come to an end. There would be no United Nations to be talking about. There would be no nothing. Just a few years ago, reckless experiments overseas gave us a devastating global pandemic. Yet despite that worldwide catastrophe, many countries are continuing extremely risky research into bioweapons and man-made pathogens. This is unbelievably dangerous. To prevent potential disasters, I'm announcing today that my administration will lead an international effort to enforce biological weapons convention, which is going to be meeting with the top leaders of the world by pioneering an AI verification system
Oh,
that
no.
everyone can trust. Hopefully the
AI verification system that you can trust, or bringing in the Palantir, big daddy, big tech, big censorship. You trust the government. You can so trust Palantir. You know the crazy shit Palantir is able to do? Just imagine the drone warfare we're seeing in Russia and Ukraine. If you're somehow labeled a terrorist, if you're labeled a threat to the government, you know, a domestic terrorist, whatever, a combatant of war in any way, Palantir will have you facially recognized with your digital ID, track you down from your cell phone, track you from satellites, track you from all those other programs they have
Jacob
going
Carvey,
on.
$9.99. Have to admit, aside from some authoritarian tendencies in Russia, and every country has its evil, Russia is one of the last traditional countries. But it's all just whoever interests collide. Politics, cross mark emoji, thumbs down emoji.
Thank you, brother. So, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. So these drones that are watching you and they have data on you with these real-time satellites that are absolutely crazy down to the centimeter, they're going to track you. They will deploy a drone from a random building in some warehouse with some like 500-mile range, and it's going to track you live and literally kamikaze on top of your fucking head. You have we will be in, what's that movie with, oh God, Demolition Man, where you had the underground people that were the resistance. That you're going to live in the sewers, bro, in the future. You're going to be the sewer people. Anybody going against the government will be considered extremist. You know how easy it is to be labeled an extremist, an agitator, and you are targeted for extermination with Palantir powering all this shit? And you're going to get your fucking drone is just going to come on top of you and just kamikaze blow your ass to smithereens. You're going to have to live in the fucking sewers, G. We're all going to be in the sewers transmitting from the radio. I'm going to be talking shit while we're getting kamikazed. We're going to be feeding on diets of rats and piss. Holy shit, dude. We are the resistance. Underground, boys. This is it. Oh, oops. Bo just said something. Now you got caught watching me. I said something against the government. I'm an agitator. I'm an extremist. And now you're guilty by association because you're watching. Good luck, bro. We'll see you underground in the sewers. Hope you like rats. Fucking shit. You thought you were getting bug sandwiches. We're eating rat burgers. But Jesus.
The UN can play a constructive role, and it will also be one of the early projects under AI. Let's see how good it is, because a lot of people are saying it could be one of the great things ever.
God.
It also can be dangerous, but it can be put to tremendous use and tremendous good, and this would be an example of that. Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out.
Treason.
The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that?
There,
On
you
the way
see?
to infiltrate our southern border.
Well, I didn't know that one.
Millions
Okay.
of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent.
You know, I understand the sentiment. Somebody said, I don't give a fuck about Europe. They voted for this, but you have to understand these are you're your brother's keeper. All America has, because America is a European offshoot. It's a European country. It was founded by Europeans. If you turn your back on your brothers when you're only 7% of the world population left, you're going to have nothing. If you're fighting amongst your kin, your distant cousins, when there is only 8% of you left, 7%, 6% projected very shortly here, you're already done. If you're complaining about how hard it is in the world today, how your economy's crumbling, how you're losing global influence, all that shit, it's going to be worse if we're fighting amongst ourselves as European countries. Turning our back on Canada, big fucking mistake. Turning our backs on Europe, a big fucking mistake. This is the time that America and Europe and Canada and Australia have all got to come together and unify, because there is nothing, there will be, the next global event will be a multi-civilizational fight. It'll be a multi-civilizational conflict, whether it's China leading the other side, Team Red, and America leading Team Blue, whatever the fucking conflict will be that spawns from, you know, the destabilization of American hegemony being threatened by the rise of China. Your new rulers for the world will not look too kindly on you, is what I'm saying. Okay? It's not looking good, boys. Again, we have a war going on in Europe's backyard currently. We're already dwindling as a population. Why is this happening? It's weird. And our birth rates, there was a new study, I didn't even see it, but the latest number for the birth rates are even lower now. The United States was something at like 1.23, maybe 1.6, something like that max. I don't know if I saved that photo. Let me look. I didn't save the photo. Damn it. The birth rates have plummeted again globally. China, oh yeah, China was the lowest. China, now I think they surpassed South Korea. If I'm not mistaken, they're at 1 or below. That's crazy. So China was at 1 already. So China has problems too.
Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped. In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them and not finance them. In the United States, we reject the idea that.
And the people coming over to the United States that don't share European values are saying crazy shit like this. I posted this on the community chat, but just so you get an idea. America, so this was from Sagas of Baharat. America is a nation that was illegally colonized. Illegally colonized? What the fuck? By white Europeans by abusing the natives. How do you illegally colonize? Like, fuck, paradox choice of words there. The modern development of America was done with the money Europeans looted from India. What? How does that work? Okay. Indians have more rights to the resources of America than white Europeans. You fucking what, Miss Baharat? You what? Come again? I beg your pardon? People are out of their fucking minds, dude. Hold on. It keeps going. Then you got, I have another post here. This is happening in Dearborn, Michigan. And this is from, I don't even know what the fuck this guy's name, but he says, America must fall. This city is already over 55% Muslim, and we're not stopping there. Jesus. Here we go.
Mass numbers of people from foreign lands can be permitted to travel halfway around the world, trample our borders, violate our sovereignty, cause unmitigated crime, and deplete our social safety net. we have reasserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it. I'm not mentioning names. I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody is.
Call them criminals.
Nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out.
I hate how we soften the language on what these people are. They're criminals. You broke the law. Yeah, you came into the country breaking the law. You're not an illegal alien, okay? You're not from fucking Mars, bro. You're literally a criminal. Your first act of coming into a country wasn't an act of goodwill. You came in illegally. You broke the law as your first action of goodwill. You're a criminal. You get sent to the gulags, okay? You will be used for hard labor. Should you die during hard labor, we'll harvest your organs and we'll donate them to some little girl that really needs it. She's got cancer and she needs your liver to survive. That will be your final act of goodwill for being a fucking criminal. How about that? How about that's how we treat these people? And I bet you no one's crossing borders anymore because their organs would get harvested otherwise. The fuck? Come on, man. Jesus. All right, maybe I'm being a little too harsh there. Am I? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm on that militant shit, dude. I would like to institute a really hard line policy for Europeans. Think Imperial Rome days, okay? Civic duty needs to come back for the state, for the nation. We serve. We live to serve one another, yeah? In our community. Let's mobilize the massive amounts of Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Put them to work. Where's our new Green New Deal style mass mobilization of the youth? Give these people a job. Let them feel some sense of pride and joy for what they can accomplish with their own two hands, led by the state. Where is that shit? I want to see crazy bridges being built, entire communities being sprouted up, all on the hard work, on the hands and the backs of these young people that need work, need jobs, need to feel like they have a stake in the future. That's what we need. Instead, we feel our young people fucking slop. What do we got? Oh, TikTok all day, brain rotting, doing fucking whack dances. Okay, jacking it to fucking Annie on Grok. Magoon Queen here. Are you shitting me, bro? I'm literally watching the young generation of men with their potential stolen by all this fucking slop. This is a joke. It's a joke. Liberalism was a joke. This, what could you say? This individualism and selfishness that we laud over everybody as like, we're hailing as like the golden standard of Western civilization is a fucking joke. Fuck individualism. It's a joke. We need to bring back communal thinking for the state, for the country, for your community, for your neighborhood. We work beyond ourselves, beyond the selfish, selfless. For the community, we sacrifice for one another. That's what we're missing today. The fuck, man? This individualist, like hyper-libertarianist movement is so fucking ass, dude. I'm down for the collective. Just saying.
Sam the Man $10. This is why I didn't vote for this guy in 2024 or 2020. I voted in 2015 because I thought maybe, but after his first presidency, he showed himself for who he really is. There is no political solution.
There is, actually. I was thinking about that. Okay. What actually needs to happen is this. I used to say vote for a third party, but the truth is the third party will not come until it's preceded by massive protest. I'm not saying riot. Hear me clearly here. Massive demonstrations, massive protests, million-man level marches, if not more, 10 million men. We need 10 million men marching on the Capitol, picketing peacefully, truly. We have to pressure the government. We don't have to ransack shit, go crazy. None of that. Don't do any of that. What I'm saying is we need to protest to pressure the government. Let them know, just like Canada was almost brought to their knees with the trucker protests because they were hitting the economic jugular vein of Canada. We need millions of men out on the streets protesting to scare these politicians shitless, okay? To let them know what demands we have, and they will institute change because the amount of disruption from millions of men protesting outside the White House is absolutely huge. Protesting in front of Congress, huge. In front of the Supreme Court, huge. This is the only way you affect change, is civil disobedience in that sense. Until those massive demonstrations and protests happen, your voting will change nothing. Next in line will be, guess who? Vance. That's it. That's who's next in line. More of the same that you've been getting, which means your life being sold down to AI and Palantir, getting your job replaced by automated systems, dark factories. They're bringing in manufacturing, but everything will be manufactured by AI robotics. So you're not needed, and you're going to be stuck living in your fucking sewers, eating rat burgers in your bug sandwiches while the rich get richer and the rest of us get poor, and you might get a slop of your digital currency ID, right? Verified by your ID of your UBI of 1,000 fucking shekels. And they will not be redeemable because you just listened to Bo. And so now you're punished with a 500 minus shekel fine. Good job, G. Welcome to the sewer resistance. Yeah, that's where we're fucking going. Unfortunate. Unless we start demonstrating and making a change.
Alex Patino $10. Did I miss something? But Britain jealously guarded access to India since the 1750s when France had to give up its control after the French and Indian War. Also, France had to give up the Ohio Valley.
Listen, bro, India is entitled to all of North America, okay? They're already invading Canada. So America's next.
It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it. And I have to say, I look at London where you have a terrible mayor, terrible mayor. And it's been so changed. Now they want to go to Sharia law.
W rat
You're in a
burgers.
different country. You can't.
I need to make that a shirt. I need to make that a shirt. Remind me on the stream, the next one. I need to make a sewer resistance shirt, and there's going to be a little Palantir drone scanning the fucking streets, and there's going to be somebody, with a manhole just peeking through with his fingers and the two eyes. That's all you see hiding from the fucking Palantir kamikaze drone. And then another one for the rat burgers. Fucking hell.
Both the immigration and their suicidal energy ideas will.
If you do shirt designs, send that shit to my email. I'll give you $100. $100 to somebody that can do sick ass design for shirts. The best one wins, and that'll go up on the shop. I'll give you 100. Hundo to anybody that wants to design that.
Be the death of Western Europe if something is not done immediately. This cannot be sustained. What makes the world so beautiful is that each country is unique. But to stay this way, every sovereign nation must have the right to control their own borders. You have the right to control your borders, as we do now, and to limit the sheer numbers of migrants entering their countries and paid for by the people of that nation that were there and that built that particular nation at the time. They put their blood, sweat, tears, money into that country, and now they're being ruined. Proud nations must be allowed to protect their communities and prevent their societies from being overwhelmed by people.
Digital. Every time you hear digital ID, just consider that shit like digital AIDS. When they tell you it's coming, just think digital AIDS are coming, not ID. That's what they're gonna give you a form of digital AIDS. You're done. You're marked for death.
They have never seen before, with different customs, religions, with different everything, where migrants have violated
Isaac, make it for me.
Lodged false asylum claims or claimed refugee status for illegitimate reasons. They should, in many cases, be immediately sent home. And while we will always have a big heart for places and people that are struggling and truly compassionate, answers will be given. We have to solve the problem, and we have to solve it in their countries, not create new problems in our countries. And we are very helpful to a lot of countries that are just not able to send their people anymore. They used to send them to us in caravans of 25, 30,000 people each. These massive caravans of people pouring into our country, totally unchecked and unvetted. But not anymore. According to the Council of Europe in 2024, almost 50% of inmates in German prisons were foreign nationals or migrants. In Austria, the number was 53% of the people in prisons were from places that weren't from where they are now. In Greece,
Shitholes. Just call them like he used to. Remember the soundbite he had? I think somebody leaked a soundbite saying from shithole countries. He said that. Just say that, bro. Just be fucking honest. He's at the UN. You got to have a little bit of decorum. But you already shit on them because they overspent money and they scammed you out of your 500 millies you could have got. And instead they got scammed harder for 2 bills. The corruption. So they weren't shitting on gold toilets. So tell
the
them.
number was 54%. And in Switzerland, beautiful Switzerland, 72% of the people in prisons are from out.
I'm going to visit Switzerland soon. It's so beautiful looking. But to hear that 70-something% of the people in prison there are foreigners. Unreal.
Outside of Switzerland.
Wow.
When your prisons are filled with so-called asylum seekers who repaid kindness, and that's what they did. They repaid kindness with crime. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
Damn, there it is. That's
America,
the soundbite.
we've taken bold action to swiftly shut down uncontrolled migration. Once we started detaining and deporting everyone who crossed the border and removing illegal aliens from the United States, they simply stopped coming. They're not coming anymore. We're getting a lot of credit, but they're not coming anymore. This was a humanitarian act for all involved because on the trips up, thousands of people a week were dying. Women were being raped. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Raped, horribly beaten, raped. On the trip up, the journey up, it was a long walk. It was a long, arduous journey, indeed. And it was also a historic victory against human trafficking throughout the region. What we did was a victory, and we saved so many lives of people that wouldn't make the journey. That journey was loaded up with death. Loaded up with death.
That's true. They don't talk about that.
Dead bodies all along.
They don't really talk about all these traffickers and the amount of people they're taking advantage because we have open borders and the unspeakable things they're not just doing to the women, they're doing to the children. So he did put an end. By closing the border, you put an end to those atrocities of these people spending their life savings to try to make it across the border to the United States. And geez, can you imagine being a young child, like 5, 6, 7 years old, and then being taken by these disgusting traffickers and doing God knows what they're doing to you as a form of retribution or pain, even if you somehow make, because maybe your parents were short, or they just decided to do that because they're sick individuals. And if you somehow make it, you make it back to your parents. Yeah, that's saving children, quite literally. So you have to give him his props for that one.
All along the roads of jungles to get up. They go through jungles, they go through areas so hot you couldn't breathe. They were dying of suffocation, areas so hot that you couldn't breathe. Dead bodies all over. By them not coming, we're saving tremendous numbers of lives. My people have done a fantastic job in doing what they did, and the American public agrees with it. I mean, I was very proud to see this morning I have the highest poll numbers I've ever had. Part of it is because of what we've done on the border. I guess the other part is what we've done on the economy. Joe Biden's policies empowered murderous gangs, human smugglers, child traffickers, drug cartels, and prisoners from all over the world The previous administration also lost nearly 300,000 children. Think of that. They lost more than 300,000 children, little children.
You don't lose 300,000. That's a fucking state-sponsored trafficking operation. Are you kidding me?
Who were trafficked into the United States on the Biden watch, many of whom have been raped, exploited, and abused, and sold.
Jesus.
Sold. Nobody talks about that. The fake news doesn't write about it. With many others, young children who are missing or dead. And we found a lot of these children, and we're sending them back, and we've been sending them back to their parents. They said, nobody knows who they are. They said, where do you come from? And they'll give us a country, and we'll find out, and we'll figure it out, and we'll bring them back to their homes. And the mother and father rush to the door, and their tears in their eyes. They can't believe that they're seeing their son or daughter, their little son or daughter again. We've done almost 30,000 of them so far. Any system that results in the mass trafficking of children is inherently evil. Yet that is exactly what the globalist migration agenda has done, and it's what it's all about. In America, those days, as you know, are over. The Trump administration is working, and we are continuing to work to track down the villains that are causing this problem, and also, as I said, to get back the 30,000 we've already returned. Now I think we're going to have another. We're going to find a lot. You're not going to find all of them. More than 300,000. They're lost or they're dead. They're lost or they're dead because of the animals that did this. To protect our citizens, I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as far as and you see this, and you see it happening right before your eyes. Let's put it this way. People don't like taking big loads of drugs in boats anymore. There aren't too many boats that are traveling on the seas by Venezuela. They tend not to want to travel very quickly anymore. And we've virtually stopped drugs coming into our country by sea. We call them the water drugs. They kill hundreds of thousands of people. I've also designated multiple savage drug cartels as far as foreign terrorist organizations, along with two bloodthirsty transnational gangs, probably the worst gangs anywhere in the world, MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. Tren de Aragua is from Venezuela, by the way. Such organizations torture, maim, mutilate, and murder with impunity. They're the enemies of all humanity. For this reason, we've recently begun using the supreme power of the United States military.
Yeah, I give them credit because under Biden, you guys don't remember, do you? But we were having secret black flights that were jettisoning people across the United States in specific towns to bolster up the demographics so that Democrats would have a voter base that's essentially solidified in for life, or at least for one generation. You guys remember that? They were hiding that on, like, mainstream media would not report that. Google, you could not pull that search up. You had to go to specific websites to find out that the Biden administration had black flights literally sending people in. Somebody said they're still doing it. Are they really under Trump? Maybe in reverse now. I know they had military planes transporting people to Africa. And yeah, those are black flights in a sense also because they're hard to track. Yeah. So that shit's great. Somebody said they saw it firsthand multiple times. Shit. That's crazy.
To destroy Venezuelan terrorists and trafficking networks led by Nicolas Maduro. To every terrorist thug smuggling poisonous drugs into the United States of America, please be warned that we will blow you out of existence. That's what we're doing. We have no choice. Can't let it happen. They're destroying. I believe we lost 300,000 people last year to drugs. 300,000.
Damn.
Fentanyl and other drugs. Each boat that we sink carries drugs that would kill more than 25,000 Americans. We will not let that happen. Energy is another area where the United States is now thriving like never before. We're getting rid of the falsely named renewables. By the way, they're a joke. They don't work. They're too expensive. They're not strong enough to fire up the plants that you need to make your country great. The wind doesn't blow. Those big windmills are so pathetic and so bad, so expensive to operate. And they have to be rebuilt all the time, and they start to rust
And
and
they're
rot.
ugly. And they kill the birds. He hates the windmills, bro. He fucking hates them.
Most expensive energy ever conceived, and it's actually energy. You're supposed to make money with energy, not lose money. You lose money, the governments have to subsidize. You can't put them out without massive subsidies. And most of them are built in China, and I give China a lot of credit. They build them, but they very few wind farms. So why is it that they build them and they send them all over the world, but they barely use them? You know what they use? Coal. They use gas. They use almost anything, but they don't like wind. But they sure as hell like selling the windmills. Europe, on the other hand, has a long way to go, with many countries being on the brink of destruction because of the green energy agenda. And I give a lot of credit to Germany. Germany was being led down a very sick path, both on immigration, by the way, and on energy.
He's telling the
truth. They were going
truth.
green, and they were going bankrupt.
Going broke.
And the new leadership came in, and they went back to where they were, with fossil fuel and with nuclear, which is good. It's now safe, and you can do it properly. But they went back to where they were, and they opened up a lot of different plants, energy producing plants.
Yeah, this whole green shit, it's carbon tax, it's all bullshit. When you look up the carbon output from countries, China on the graph is like a vertical rise up. And then all the European countries like Germany, the UK, France, you know, that are pushing this green agenda, the renewable energy bullshit, the graph is like slightly going down. We slightly reduced our output of whatever offset we had for those carbon that they're counting, while destroying our economies. Meanwhile, China is just going vertical up and producing more carbon, more pollution, more whatever the fuck from all these. They're building how many of these coal-powered plants every single fucking week? And so we destroyed our own industries. We absolutely put everybody in a chokehold in the West over these green renewable scam. And meanwhile, China doesn't give a fuck. China is just building a new coal-powered plant like every other day. And meanwhile, Germany has reduced themselves down to shit. They've destroyed their manufacturing base completely. Their industries have crumbled because they can't get cheap Russian gas anymore, energy. And they're so dependent on it because the margins on that shit, the amount of electricity they need. They gave up nuclear power for some woke moronic renewable energy that clearly did not work in time. Meanwhile, China's like, coal power, cool story. Let's do it. New modular nuclear reactors, tiny ones that you could build all over the place, super safe, never going to have a Fukushima problem anyways. They're resistant to earthquakes and all the natural disasters. Cool. Start stacking them, boys. Do you know the amount of electricity capacity and production that China has right now? It's a fucking joke. A joke, dude. Europe's all like, bro, Green New Deal, bro, renewable energy, fuck nuclear, the atomic age ushering in a new fucking world order of infinite cheap energy. Fuck that. Give me solar fucking panels and windmills. But we have to subsidize them because they're too expensive to put up. And we'll recoup our fucking costs. I don't know when, but it's clean. Sounds like a good deal, right? Oh, and you can't have toasters anymore. Oh, and your washing machines, they have to save water too. Oh, and your cars must be all electrified. You fucking what, bro? You what? We tanked our economies for that so that the rest of the world just literally ignores this green agenda and doesn't give a fuck. China's like, oh, look at these dumb Europeans and their fucking green renewable energy plans. Build 10 more fucking power plants made of coal power today, Chang, today, and add another 100 tomorrow. And then they just sprout up like fucking weeds. A million Chinese workers descend from the hills, and then entire cities of cold power plants just appear out of nowhere. And meanwhile, Europeans are like, we got a windmill up. Look, it's pretty. Oh, oops, it killed a bird. Fuck, Europeans can be so retarded. I'm ashamed.
plants, and they're doing well. I give Germany a lot of credit for that. They've said this is a disaster, what's happening. They were going all green. All green is all bankrupt. That's what it represents. And it's not politically correct. I'll be very badly criticized for saying it, but I'm here to tell the truth. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I'm in New York City. I'm feeling a lot safer. Crime, we're getting crime down. And by the way, speaking of crime, Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. was the crime capital of America. Now it's a totally, after 12 days, it's a totally safe city. Everyone's going out to dinner. They're going out to restaurants. Your wife can walk down the middle of the street with or without you. Nothing's going to happen. My people have done a fantastic job. And yes, I called in the National Guard, and the National Guard took care of business, and they weren't politically correct, but they took care of business. We got 1,700 career criminals out, brought them back to where they came from, the countries where they came from, or put them in jails. Washington, D.C. is now a totally safe city again, and I welcome you to come. In fact, we'll have dinner together at a local restaurant, and we'll be able to walk. We don't have to go by an armor-plated vehicle. We'll walk right over there from the White House. They've given up their powerful edge, a lot of the countries that we're talking about, in oil and gas, such as essentially closing the great North Sea oil. Oh, the North Sea, I know it so well. Aberdeen was the oil capital of Europe, and there's tremendous oil that hasn't been found in the North Sea. Tremendous oil. And I was with the Prime Minister I respect and like a lot, and I said, you're sitting with the greatest asset. They essentially closed it by making it so highly taxed that no developer, no oil company can go there. They have tremendous oil left, and more importantly, they have tremendous oil that hasn't even been found yet. And what a tremendous asset for the United Kingdom. And I hope the Prime Minister is listening, because I told it to him 3 days in a row. That's all he heard. North Sea oil, North Sea, because I want to see them do well. I want to stop seeing them ruining that beautiful Scottish and English countryside with windmills and massive solar panels that go 7 miles by 7 miles, taking away farmland. But we're not letting this happen in America. In 1982, the executive director of the United Nations Environmental Program predicted that by the year 2000, climate change would cause a global catastrophe. He said that it will be irreversible, as any nuclear holocaust would be. This is what they said at the United Nations. What happened? Here we are. Another UN official stated in 1989 that within a decade, entire nations could be wiped off the map by global warming. Not happening. You know, it used to be global cooling. If you look back years ago in the 1920s and the 1930s, they said, global cooling will kill the world. We have to do something. Then they said global warming will kill the world, but then it started getting cooler, so now they could just call it climate change, because that way they can't miss. It's climate change, because if it goes higher or lower, whatever the hell happens, there's climate change. It's the greatest con job ever perpetrated on the world, in my opinion. Climate change, no matter what happens, you're involved in that. No more global warming, no more global cooling. All of these predictions made by the United Nations and many others, often for bad reasons, were wrong. They were made by stupid people that have cost their countries fortunes and given those same countries no chance for success. If you don't get away from this green scam, your country is going to fail. And I'm really good at predicting things, you know. They actually said during the campaign, they had a hat, the best-selling hat. Trump was right about everything. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but it's true. I've been right about everything. And I'm telling you that if you don't get away from the green energy scam, your country is going to fail. And if you don't stop people that you've never seen before, that you have nothing in common with, your country is going to fail. I'm the President of the United States, but I worry about Europe. I love Europe. I love the people of Europe. And I hate to see it being devastated by energy and immigration. This double-tailed monster destroys everything in its wake, and they cannot let that happen any longer. You're doing it because you want to be nice. You want to be politically correct, and you're destroying your heritage. They must take control strongly and immediately of
Finally,
the
he got the
unmitigated
balls.
immigration disaster and the fake energy
Good.
catastrophe before it's too late. The carbon footprint is a hoax made up by people with evil intentions, and they're heading down a path of total destruction. You know, the carbon footprint was a big, big thing a few years ago. I remember hearing about the carbon footprint, and then President Obama would get into Air Force One, a massive Boeing 747, and not a new one, an old one with old engines that spew everything into the atmosphere. He'd talk about the carbon footprint, we must do so. Then he'd get in and he'd fly from Washington to Hawaii to play a round of golf. And then he'd get back onto that big, beautiful plane and he'd fly back and he'd talk about, again, global warming and the carbon footprint. It's a con job. At extreme cost and expense, Europe reduced its own carbon footprint by 37%. Think of that. Congratulations, Europe. Great job. You cost yourself a lot of jobs, a lot of factories closed, but you reduced the carbon
Congratulations,
footprint
idiots.
by 37%. However, for all of that sacrifice and much more,
Is he going to say China?
it's been totally wiped out and then some by a global increase of 54%.
Ah, there you go.
Much of it coming from China and other countries
Good job,
that are
idiots.
thriving around China, which now produces more CO2 than all the other developed nations in the world.
How pathetic.
So all of these countries are working so hard on the carbon footprint, which is nonsense, by the way. It's nonsense. You know, it's interesting. In the United States, we have still radicalized environmentalists, and they want the factories to stop. Everything should stop. No more cows. We don't want cows anymore. I guess they want to kill all the cows. They want to do things that are just unbelievable. And
They want you to eat rat sandwiches. That's what they want.
But you know, we have a border, strong, and we have a shape, and that shape doesn't just go straight up. That shape is amorphous when it comes to the atmosphere. And if we had the most clean air, and I think we do, we have very clean air. We have the cleanest air we've had in many, many years. But the problem is that other countries, like China, which has air that's a little bit rough, it blows. And no matter what you're doing down here, the air up here tends to get very dirty because it comes in from other countries where their air isn't so clean. And the environmentalists refuse to acknowledge that. Same thing with garbage. In Asia, they dump much of their garbage right into the ocean. And over about a 1 week and 2 week journey, it flows right past Los Angeles. You've seen it. Massive
It's true
amounts
what
of
he's saying.
garbage, almost
Yeah.
too much to do anything about. Flowing past Los Angeles, past San Francisco, and then somebody will get in trouble because he dropped a cigarette on the beach. The whole thing is crazy. The primary effect of these brutal green energy policies has not been to help the environment, but to redistribute manufacturing and industrial activity from developed countries that follow the insane rules that are put down to polluting countries that break the rules and are making a fortune. They're making a fortune. European electricity bills are now 4 to 5 times more expensive than those in China, and 2 to 3 times higher than the United States. And our bills are coming way down. You probably see that our gasoline prices are way down. You know, we have an expression, drill, baby, drill, and that's what we're doing. We're going to be much lower in a year from now. But they've come way down over the last year. As a result, every air conditioner is like very uncommon to see one in some of these countries because the electric costs are so high. So while the U.S. has approximately 1,300 heat-related deaths annually, that's a lot, Europe loses more than 175,000 people to heat deaths each year.
Yeah, I think I read a crazy statistic that more people die from heat-related deaths in Europe because they don't have air conditioning than Americans die from gunshot wounds. That's crazy. Euro bros are dying from heat waves more than Americans are dying from fucking guns. That's crazy. I don't think I'm mistaken. Look at the stat up. So Euro bros, there's a funny meme that shows like a real fat American, like a Wojak, a fat one, and he's sweating his ass off, but there's an AC unit blowing cold air on him. And then there's like a Euro bro, and he's like the sad, the really like, you know, that like blackface Wojak. And he's just like real sad, and he's like, help, I'm dying because there's no AC. He's dying of heat stroke. That shit's true. Oh, fuck.
Because the costs are so expensive, you can't turn on an air conditioner. What is that all about? That's not Europe. That's not the Europe that I love and know. All in the name of pretending to stop the global.
And you notice too. Okay, so if you haven't traveled to Europe, here's some immediate things that you notice in the United States. Every single house obviously has centralized air conditioning and heating. Every store that you walk into has an insane commercial unit that just blasts you with that icy cold air. The moment the sliding doors open, you're just hit with that shit. Every bank you walk into, every gas station you go to, any single building you walk into has incredibly good cooling. And not just the building and the air itself, but the fridge and the freezer units. To grab, if you go to like a Quick Trip, and you go grab any cold drink, anything behind in the fridge section, in the cooling section, it's very cold. That shit's icy cold, the drink. You come to Europe, bro, they got the most limp-wristed, if at all, limp dick air conditioning units you will ever see. They have these shitty in-wall units, and I'm staring at one right now, tiny, that only cools one room at a time. They don't have centralized cooling. Then when you go into a store, if you go into a gas station or wherever the fuck, anywhere, supermarket, the air that hits you, that opens up from the sliding doors is warm. That shit's not cold. Then when you go grab a cold drink from the gas station or said supermarket, it's warm. So not only is the drink already outside of the fridge section warm as fuck, but your drink is still slightly less warm from the cooled section. The fuck is happening? That shit's disgusting. When you come from America and you're used to that nice cold AC blast, and you're used to nice cold icy drinks, and you come to Europe and you taste this lukewarm ass fucking room temperature shit, it's disgusting. I was sweating my ass off when I first came to Europe, and I'm like, this fucking AC is garbage. How do you people survive out here? It's insane, dude. It takes a while to get used to that shit.
Warming hoax. The entire globalist concept of asking successful industrialized nations to inflict pain.
And they're ghetto as fuck here, dude. When you go in the United States, for example, this is the abundance mentality. When you get food and you ask for ketchup or whatever the fuck, you're given ketchup packets by like the fistful. Okay, for example, let's use McDonald's as an example. You go to McDonald's and you're getting ketchup and you're getting mustard, whatever the fuck else your sides are. You can grab from the container handfuls of packets. It's free. You go to Europe, they charge you money for a packet of ketchup. You pay for each packet, like as if they're so fucking poor they can't afford tomatoes to fucking make ketchup, bro. Oh, that'll be 20 euros or 20 cents, please, for a ketchup packet. Suck my dick. I already paid for the burger, bitch. Do you know how this works in America? Give me my fucking ketchup now. What the fuck you mean I'm paying extra for the ketchup? No refills, bro. Someone's asking refills. That's another thing. There is no refills, bitch. You're paying for all the refills you want. You're doubling up on your drinks. What else is there that's so stupid about this shit? There's another funny one that I can't remember. So it's the food. Yeah, it's hella ghetto, dude. So the food, you get no ketchup packets. You got to pay for that shit. Oh, the carts. Yeah, so there's no fucking refills. The carts, G. You know how you go to the store and the bags. Don't get me started on the fucking bags. So we'll go to the carts next. So when you go shopping in Europe and you go to get a cart, you know how ghetto this shit is? You got to put a fucking quarter in there or a dollar, like a euro coin. I think it's €1. You got to put in there. You got to put your coin in there in order to release the shopping cart from the other cart that it's stuck to. Ghetto. That shit is so ghetto, bro. So low trust. Like, who bums here are going to steal a shopping cart that I got to put a fucking coin in to get my shit? And then I'm back in American Phoenix and I'm going to like, Whole Foods or wherever. And I'm like, wow, bro, there's my shopping cart. I could just take my shopping cart and just walk wherever the fuck I want and drop it off however I want. Freedom. I'm here. Bald eagles are roaring around me and fucking M16s are firing off. I go back to Europe. May we have a coin, please? You're going to need to pay a fee for this cart. It's called a coin because we might think you're going to steal it. Fuck off. Okay? That shit is so fucking ghetto. Oh, and paper bags. Yes, the paper bags are next. Oh my God, bro. People look at you, every single bag must be scanned. People got to bring their own bags. And I know California is the same. Some other states have instituted that shit too. They got rid of plastic bags. But in Phoenix, where it's called freedom, I even brought my girl back Target bags. I went to Target, bro, got a stack of them this thick after I bought some shit. And she uses them as little like trash bags here. I brought a gang of Target bags back because they're free. Because in Europe, you got to pay for each bag. Fucking ghetto. Somebody said you got to pay extra for a hanger in a clothing store. Get out of here. I don't know if you have to do that. Do you really got to do that? Jeez, bro. Fucking communist. Can't even get my free plastic fucking bag. Oh, it's saving the turtles. When meanwhile, people are shitting in fucking rivers and throwing trash everywhere in India. Like most of the pollution killing these fucking turtles come from Southeast Asia. They're a vast majority of that entire shit island that's the size of fucking New Jersey that's floating in the middle of the Pacific or some shit. But I can't have my bags because some Southeast Asians don't know how to use a fucking trash can? Excuse me. Encroaching on my fucking freedoms. Oh my God, dude. Save the fucking turtles. That was another scam. Then they gave you these limp dick ass straws for your drink that are made of paper and fucking melt in your mouth after 2 sips. Or the bottom of the straws in your drink is like disintegrating, bro. Thank you. Let me eat my plastic lined straw in my fucking warm drink now, bro. Thanks. So let me ingest microplastics because it's for the turtles. So instead of the turtles ingesting the fucking plastic, I'm now ingesting it. Awesome. Awesome. See how that works.
On themselves and radically disrupt their entire societies must be rejected completely and totally, and it must be.
Oh, you want to see what else is retarded?
That's why,
listen to this. The European mind can be undefeated when it comes to bureaucracy. America is making the cutting edge AI systems. Europe has created this fucking abomination. Let me show you this shit. Look at this. Look at this. This engineering marvel here. Do you see this? This is called a water bottle. And only Europe and Europeans can come up with the most gangster invention of all time. Water bottle caps that do not fall off your bottle. And then you look like a fucking tard trying to drink from this fucking stupid shit that won't get out of your fucking way. Look at this retarded shit right here. Congratulations, Europe. Look at this bureaucracy. We saved the turtles for this. Let me get my face out. This is us saving turtles, bro. I'm always ripping this thing off by brute force because it's the stupidest fucking invention I've ever seen. Peak innovation right here. So you're all like, can't drink my fucking water, bro. Because it's always spilling on me and shit. Because every time you put this stupid fucking thing back, it wants to come back on top. Who invented this shit? You're fucking fired. Your life is now forfeit. We demand your fucking blood in the streets. This is stupid as shit. Unbelievable. Had me looking fucking dumb and shit, spilling water on myself. Why? Because the caps. There's turtles, you see? But there's fucking street shitters everywhere just tossing whole fucking plastic bottles over their shoulders. Oh, I sleep on these plastic bottles, bro. Are you kidding me? Have you seen some of those rivers in Southeast Asia and shit? Fucking hell, bro. There's no water anymore. It's just floating dumps of garbage and plastic everywhere. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
In America, I withdrew from the fake Paris Climate Accord, where, by the way, America was paying so much more than every country. Others weren't paying. China didn't have to pay until 2030. Russia was given an old standard that was easy to meet, a 1990 standard. But for the United States, we're supposed to pay like $1 trillion. And I said, this is another scam. The fact is, the United States has been taken advantage of by the world for many, many years, but not any longer, as you probably noticed. I unleashed massive energy production and signed historic executive orders to hunt for oil, but we don't have to do much hunting because we have the most oil of any nation anywhere, oil and gas in the world. And if you add coal, we have the most of any nation in the world. Clean, I call it clean, beautiful coal. You can do things today with coal that you couldn't have done 10 years ago, 15 years. So I have a little standing order in the White House. Never use the word coal, only use the words clean, beautiful coal. Sounds much better, doesn't it? But we stand ready to provide any country with abundant, affordable energy supplies if you need them, when most of you do. We're proudly exporting energy all over the world. We're now the largest exporter. In the United States, we want trade and robust commerce with all nations, everybody. We want to help nations. We're going to help nations. But it must also be fair and reciprocal. The challenge with trade is much the same with climate. The countries that followed the rules, all their factories have been plundered. It's really sad to watch. They've been broken. They've been broken by countries that broke the rules. That's why the United States is now applying tariffs to other countries, and much as these tariffs were for many years applied to us, uncontrollably applied to us. We've used tariffs as a defense mechanism under the Trump administration, including my first term, where hundreds of billions of dollars in tariffs were taken in. And by the way, we had the lowest inflation, and now we have very low inflation. The only thing different is that we have hundreds of billions of dollars flowing into our country. But this is how we will ensure that the system works for everyone and is sustainable into the future. We're also using tariffs to defend our sovereignty and security throughout the world, including against nations that have taken advantage of former U.S. administrations for decades, including the most corrupt, incompetent administration in history, the sleepy Joe Biden administration. Brazil now faces major tariffs in response to its unprecedented efforts to interfere in the rights and freedoms of our American citizens and others, with censorship, repression, weaponization, judicial corruption, and targeting of political critics in the United States. I have a little problem saying this because I must tell you, I was walking in and the leader of Brazil was walking out. We saw him and I saw him, he saw me, and we embraced. And then I'm saying, can you believe I'm going to be saying this in just 2 minutes?
Brazil's freaking out.
But we actually agreed that we would meet next week. We didn't have much time to talk, like about 20 seconds. They were in retrospect, I'm glad I waited because this thing didn't work out too well. But we did talk. We had a good talk, and we agreed to meet next week, if that's of interest. But he seemed like a very nice man, actually. He liked me, I liked him. But if you, and I only do business with people I like. When I don't like them, I don't like them. But
what the fuck?
we had, at least for about 39 seconds,
Powerful
we had
orator
excellent
there.
chemistry. It's a good sign.
When I don't like them, I don't fucking like them. I don't do business with the ones I don't like. Oh, no shit, eh? Fuck, I'm so moved by your words. God damn, ready. I'm ready. Lead me into the promised land. If we will chant, if we don't like them, we don't like them. Fuck me, what timeline we're living in right now.
But also in the past, Brazil, can you believe this? Unfairly tariffed our nation, but now because of our tariffs, we are hitting them back, and we're hitting them back very hard. As president, I will always defend our national sovereignty and the rights of American citizens. So I'm very sorry to say this, that Brazil is doing poorly and will continue to do poorly. They can only do well when they're working with us. Without us, they will fail, just as others have failed. It's true. Next year, the United States will celebrate the 250th anniversary of our glorious independence, a testament to enduring power and American freedom and spirit. We will also be proudly hosting the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and shortly thereafter, the 2028
You know, in an alternate universe, it'd be funny if we had Charlie Kirk running against fucking Nick Fuentes or something like 30 years into the future. We just descended in such a dystopian hellhole that's our two choices. Not, like the division and the extremism and the march to the right gets to the point that would have been the alternate timeline. What the fuck? Can you imagine that?
Olympics, which is going to be very exciting. I hope you all come. I hope that countless people from all over the globe will take part of these will be great celebrations of liberty and human achievement, and that together we all can rejoice in the miracles of history that began in July 4th, 1776, when we founded the light to all nations. And it's something really that an amazing thing came out of that date. It's called the United States of America. In honor of this momentous anniversary, I hope that all countries who find inspiration in our example will join us in renewing our commitment, values, and those values, really, that we hold so dear. Together, let us defend free speech.
I honestly could have seen that happening in like 30, 40 years, or at least characters like them. And you would think like, okay, for example, Nick Fuentes, he has said too much, and he's dug himself into a hole. But the same was said about Trump when he said, grab them by the pussy, and all the other shit that he's been quoted as saying. And this was like a known philanderer in New York, and you call it ladies man or whatever you want to call him, all that shit. And a TV show host, right? Where he said, you're fired, right? Would it be that crazy if you fast forwarded 30, 40 years as culture continues to decline? We become more repugnant in the things that we like. We become devolved culturally in a sense, where it's kind of like you've seen in music and in art, where we considered Madonna extreme, or we considered Elvis Presley extreme before her. Because Elvis Presley shook his hips on stage, that was like, oh my God, this guy is he is taken by the devil. And like people didn't accept that, right? And then you fast forward decades into the future, and then you have somebody like Madonna, and she's like considered the mega super whore of the universe. And then you fast forward a few more decades, and you have whatever the degenerate is, the WAP lady. What's her name again? She used to drug dudes in New York. I remember that. She used to drug guys and steal their money. What the fuck's her name? What's her name? Somebody tell me her name. Not Sexy Red. Cardi B. There you go. So then we move from Madonna to Cardi B and wet ass pussy. Are you serious? Think about that. Think about how far we've come. Politics is the same way. When you look at orators from the past, listen to how John F. Kennedy spoke about the nation. And then fast forward all the way over to Trump and listen how Trump's speaking, and the culture, what we accept as, what could you say? Class. And then go forward another 20, 30 years. What do you think it'll look like when we have, 20, 30 years from now? What will be the the social norms of the way our politicians speak, and even historically, what is acceptable and survivable on a campaign trail. So like somebody like a Nick Fuentes in like 30, 40 years, somebody like him could have a past where they're on video saying absolutely crazy shit and it doesn't actually hurt their chances to win. It could be. Our civility in our class is degenerating. So why would, like a scandal for a politician before was saying just one thing incorrectly, or even saying like the fuck. If they were heard off camera saying like fuck, something like that, that would trap, or saying like the most like milquetoast fucking statement ever would tank your political career. Now you can say grab them by the pussy. Soon you could say some other off the cuff shit. Absolutely. That makes Trump seem like he's a fucking choir boy. It's true. I think it's a matter of time.
Speech and free expression. Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today. It's called Christianity. And let us safeguard our sovereignty and cherish qualities that have made each of our nations so special, incredible, and extraordinary. In closing, I just want to repeat that immigration and the high cost of so-called green renewable energy is destroying a large part of the free world and a large part of our planet. Countries that cherish freedom are fading fast because of their policies on these two subjects. You need strong borders and traditional energy sources if you are going to be great again. Whether you have come from north or south, east or west, near or far, every leader in this beautiful hall today represents a rich culture, a noble history, and a proud heritage that makes each nation majestic and unique, unlike anything else in human history or any other place on the face of the earth. From London to Lima, from Rome to Athens, from Paris to Seoul, from Cairo to Tokyo and Amsterdam to right here in New York City, we stand on the shoulders of the leaders and legends, generals and giants, heroes and titans who won and built our beloved nations, all of our nations, with their own courage, strength, spirit, and skill. Our ancestors climbed to mountains, conquered oceans, crossed deserts, and trekked over wide open plains. They charged into thunderous battles, plunged into...
Is that true? Is that true? Somebody said at the memorial of the Christian Republicans for Charlie Kirk, right? That memorial in Arizona, it says, at the memorial, the Christian Republicans basically caused an outage for the Grindr app. Yeah, in the Arizona area at the state arena. No fucking way. No way. Wow. Of course. I'm not surprised.
Brave dangers, and they were soldiers and farmers and workers and warriors and explorers and patriots. They built towns into cities, tribes into kingdoms, ideas into industries, and small islands into mighty empires.
I'm not surprised. Do you know why? Because the far right, quote, air quotations, far right party, the AfD in Germany, the leader is a lesbian dating a foreigner. Check that shit. The AfD, the party leader, is an older woman, lesbian, whose partner is a foreigner. Yeah. Yep. So I'm not surprised at the memorial in Arizona, Grindr went down. The real right that we need is too far right for what people actually think is. I don't want to even go there. Let's not even go there. Hey, bring in, institute that New Deal, mobilize the youth. Let's just end it there. Yeah. How about that? Let's not go into the real solutions we need to fix these countries. Far right, my ass. If you go back 60, 70 years, the far right today are considered flaming fucking libs.
You're a part of all of that. They were champions for their people who never gave up and who never, ever gave in. Their values defined our national identities. Their visions forged our magnificent destiny. Everybody in this room is a
Jacob Carbe $4.99. You should see if JJ can get on your channel for a convo that it cool. He reposts your stuff all the time.
I don't even know who that is. Who is that? Email me, I guess, his channel or his video. I'll take a look if I see the email.
part of it in
Who's that? Dyer? Jay Dyer, I guess.
your own way. Each of us inherits the deeds and the myths, the triumphs, the legacies of our own heroes and founders who so bravely showed us the way. Our ancestors gave everything for homelands that they defended with pride, with sweat, with blood, with life, and with death. Now the righteous task of protecting the nations that they built belongs to each and every one of us. So together let us uphold our sacred duty to our people and to our citizens. Let us protect their borders, ensure their safety, preserve their cultures, treasure, and traditions, and fight, fight, fight for their precious dreams and their cherished freedoms. And in friendship and really a beautiful vision, let us all work together to build a bright, beautiful planet, a planet that we all share, a planet of peace and a world that is richer, better, and more beautiful than ever before. That can happen. It will happen. It will happen, and I hope it can happen and start right now, right at this moment. We'll turn it around. We're going to make our countries better, safer, more beautiful. We're going to take care of our people. Thank you very much. It's been an honor. God bless the nations of the world. Thank you very much. Bye.
Okay. I mean, overall, you can't say anybody else would have done this. Only Trump would say some of the shit he said. I mean, he's the only one that I think they say it here. Protections for Christians. Europe has to stop adopting Sharia law. Criticize the globalism. Slam the UN for climate alarmism. Scorched them for funding Russia's war. Promoted fossil fuels. Stop falling for the green scam. I mean, nobody else other than Trump would have done this. And if we would have voted for the left, we would have got more of all this bullshit. And I don't know. I guess you can say we slowed down the decline and maybe bought enough time for some real leadership to come into this country to turn things around truly. 2024 Trump is completely different than 2016 Trump. So this one's bought and paid for, unfortunately. He's taken money from the donor class way too much. Special interests, foreign groups, all that lobbying shit. So, I mean, it became painfully obvious when you didn't release the Epstein files. It compromised. Compromised in chief. It is what it is. It's not just him, though. It's most of our government is compromised. So, this is basically the result from the nail in the coffin, which was Citizens United. Until we can reverse and get money out of politics, we're always going to be compromised to foreign interest and big money donors. That's the truth. That's where we're at right now. So it doesn't matter who comes after him. They're always going to sell out because the way our system works now, you can't get voted in. You're not going to make it if you don't have powerful donors backing you, super PACs, deals struck behind closed doors, handshakes made, souls being sold. It is what it is. This is Citizens United. Ironically, they called the very thing that divided us Citizens United. Just like the Patriot Act, you know? That was the most unpatriotic bill that ever passed. Basically, you could be deemed a terrorist and then held indefinitely, even as a U.S. citizen. So what is patriotic about that? We absolutely got fucked with those two pieces of legislation. So prepare yourselves for the kamikaze drones as you shelter in the subways beneath the feet of the people eating your rat sandwiches. You are the new sewer man resistance. Yeah. The sewer resistance, boys. While the proletariat that suck off the elite, the breathers that are allowed above ground, will wipe their asses with 3 seashells and get fined for curse words in public. I never thought that Demolition Man would be the reality that we're headed for, but that's, of all the dystopian futures, Demolition Man is rapidly becoming the most realistic. Fuck. We're in the fucking sewers, boys. Shit. Yeah. What can you do? Well, it's midnight over here, yeah? We're going to have to call it. Okay. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And we'll see you on the next one. Similar time tomorrow, perhaps. I think by October 1st, 2nd, I'll be fully moved in, have a studio. We'll be able to do this regularly if I don't make it tomorrow. We'll have them scheduled out so you guys can prepare and not miss for anybody that's watching this after the fact. And we'll get a schedule down, I promise. That way, you know, similar time every single day, Monday through Friday, will be on. So you can prepare yourselves. Good night, good evening, and good morning for those tuning in for Around the World. Hope you enjoyed today. Take care of yourselves. Touch some grass, breathe some air, put the phone down, clear your thoughts. Eat something good for your body, read something good for your mind, and keep on trucking. Shit. Otherwise, you're going to be gooning to Annie, watching fucking anime, turning into weird fucking rabbit holes on Reddit. And then next thing you know, you're going to wake up getting fucked by some furry tranny dude and committing crimes for the world to see. Don't be that guy. Reject this degeneracy. Touch some grass. Don't get into that furry porn. And we'll see you on the next one. Take care, everybody.